Morning, students. So now we're going to start our lesson for ELA. Can somebody raise their hand and tell me what book have we been reading for the past week? Fantastic job. So yeah, we've been reading the one and only Ivan. And now we're going to start to think about what's happening and understanding the plot in the story. So can somebody tell me what happened in the last part of the book? What do we remember happening in the book? What are some important events that happened during this read? Yeah, so these are all great details you remember from what we read yesterday. So today we're going to take a step further and dive deeper into the story. So we're going to use important details from each chapter we read, and at the end we're going to create a summary for the section we go over to help us better understand what is going on in the story. So as always, we're going to start with our expectations for today. Can somebody show me what it looks like to do number 2? Put forth your best effort at the time. Student looks like they're paying attention. Yeah, good job following along with your eye contact. Great job, guys. So we want to be respectful of yourself, the teachers, and others. That means don't speak over each other, listen to each other. We're going to put forth our best effort. We're going to be prepared for class each day. We're going to follow directions. And we're going to use teamwork when we work in groups. Fantastic. And we're going to make sure we participate. So can I have somebody read our objectives today? Can I have someone read the first one? Raise your hand and you're ready. The second one? And have someone read the third one? Great. And I'm going to go over some vocab. So we have our main idea, which is the important part of the story, their overall thought or summary of the story. We have our details, which is the sentence and part of the story that supports the main idea. We have a summary, which is a shorter set of sentences that tell the main idea of the story and includes key actions and characters in the story. And then we're going to use one action, so our annotation, and that's starring, underlining, and circling things we find important in the text. So this is the guide we're going to be using for today. These are some text and annotating text. So the two things that are going to be important for us to pay attention are the important ones important, and then also keywords and details that we're going to underline in our text. And then we have our summary checklist. So our summary checklist that we're going to be using at the end for our exit ticket after we write a summary all together is my main idea in my first sentence. The only important details are included. Important events are told in order, and I use my own words I have. And I have 5 to 7 complete sentences. And just so we remember, our complete sentences look like this. My sentence starts with an uppercase letter. My sentence ends with a period or an exclamation point or a question mark. Punctuation. I use spaces between my words. As a key, we can use our finger. My sentence has a subject, the who or what part, and my subject has a predicate, the what's happening part. And these are just important things that we want to make sure we have within our sentences. Great. So as we read through this section today, we're going to be looking at important details to show the main idea of each chapter, so we can write a final summary of our story. As we read each chapter, I want you to practice annotating with me and using our guide for annotations so we can better understand what Ivan is doing. So let's start. Open your first handout to the first page, The Ape Artist. Okay, so I'm going to read it and then I'm going to reread it so we can annotate together. The Ape Artist. I have new names. People call me the Ape Artist, the Primate Picasso. I have visitors from morning till night, and so does Ruby. But nothing's changed for her. Every day at 2, 4, and 7, Ruby plods through the sawdust with Snickers on her back. Every night she has bad dreams. Bob, I say, after I've soothed Ruby to sleep with the story, my idea isn't working. Bob opens one eye. Be patient. I'm tired of being patient, I say. Okay. Now that we've read the story once, I'm going to reread The Ape Artist, and I want you to pick up your pencils and annotate with me the supporting details that help us know what is happening. I have new names. People call me the Ape Artist, the Primate Picasso. I have visitors from morning till night. And so does Ruby. But nothing's changed for her. Every day at 2, 4, and 7, Ruby plows through the sawdust with Snickers on her back. Every night, she has bad dreams. Bob, I say, after I've soothed Ruby to sleep with a story, my idea isn't working. Bob opens one eyes. Be patient. Tired of being patient, I say. Okay, so what do you think is the main idea of this chapter based off of what we just annotated together? And if they weren't getting to the exemplary answer, I'd ask probing questions such as, what is Ivan trying to do? And we can look back at our graphic organizer from lesson 2 that we have. What details do we annotate that shows Ruby is sad or Ivan is impatient? Great, yeah, great job, guys. So now we're going to write 3 to 5 sentence summary of the 8 artists off to the side using our summary checklist. I'd go around the room, checking in, making sure their sentences are complete sentences. So after finish writing your summary, turn to the next page. Now we are going to read the interview. As I read, follow along with me on your handout and try to think of important details in the chapter. Interview. This evening, a man and woman come to interview Mac and also George and Julia. Man has a large and heavy camera perched on his shoulder. He films me as I make my pictures. He films Ruby in her cage with her foot roped to the bolt in the floor. Mind if I take a look around? He asks. Mac waves a hand. Be my guest. While Mac and the woman talk, the cameraman walks through the mall. He pans his camera right and left, up and down. When his eyes fall on the clock stick, he stops. He trains his camera on the gleaming blade. Then he moves on. Now I want you to independently reread interview and annotate the key details you saw like we did together in the previous chapter. Great. Now turn and talk to your group and share what you annotated with each other. Yeah, I saw a lot of great annotations as I walked around. Let's go over some key details in this chapter. Can I have someone from one group come up to the board and annotate the important details that you read in this chapter? Great job. Yeah, I also thought that the man looking at the falling on the claw stick and he stops was an important detail in the chapter. So let's check for understanding. What do we think the main idea of the chapter is based off of what we all annotated together? Yeah, so what are some key details we focused on? What is the cameraman doing? Let's think about the first picture we looked at with the protesting, what this might foreshadow happening, what might lead the people to protesting. Great, and so now after we did this, let's write the summary off to the side, making sure we used our checklist. All right, that's the end of the minutes.